Well, this is week 8. We made it. 8 weeks of the How to Start Your Financial Coaching Practice training. And this week we're talking about the 8 steps to launch your coaching practice in your state. And so I'm excited about that because this is really the administrative piece of really being legit in terms of serving through our practices, our businesses. And again, this is independent of being full-time or part-time. The important thing is that you've set yourself up to be found and to have business come to you. That's the most important thing. So let's take some time to reflect out. Last week we covered pricing and pricing strategies. We talked a bit about profit and cost of goods sold and units and revenue. So that was a different dive into the numbers to really start to understand, what does it take for me to make money through my gift, through my practice, through serving in the way that I want to serve. And those are the numbers that help you really understand how realistic it is for you to be able to offer a product, offer a service, and make money from it, create a living from it. And this is just the beginning. Your model may change. You may come up with new things and different ways to express your gifts through your service or through your practice. So again, you've got to start somewhere. You've started here, you've made it through. And the great thing is you have lifetime access to this material. So you're able to come back in whenever you need, refine, update, and develop your business through these tools. So let's share out any thoughts, comments about last week, any weeks prior to today. You've got 7 weeks of material that you've been engaging, which is a lot. That is a lot. This could be a 6-month course even, it's a lot, but it's what you need. So how have things been? What are your updates? What's coming up for you now that we're in the last week? Share out.
Good morning. So what I've done, I know that we didn't have our session last week, but it gave me some time to kind of look at what it is that I wanted to do. And I've been pushing myself to do something in regards to either individual coaching or group coaching. And then I came upon the idea of doing a boot camp. And I'm still a little nervous about it. I haven't launched, I've launched a little bit of it. I haven't really do like a major launch, like created a flyer for myself. I'm currently learning about through the FFC about ethics and standards. So I want to make sure that I digest that material first and formalize a lot of how I would like the individual or the client to walk through the intro sessions with me. So contracts or agreements, and also paying attention to providing them with 2 options for pricing, but then also not lowballing myself in that process as well. And also my capacity. I am still working full time, so I'll have to factor all those things in addition to intake assessment. What do I want on this intake assessment? So I'm in the mind frame of drafting that early stage material. And I feel comfortable that I landed upon agreements, pricing, ethics and standards within the agreement, and then an intake process, so that I can really, but then also creating the intake process where it'll be able to spit out data that will provide me with a rubric that I'm going to create to kind of guide me on what kind of coaching session I'm going to have, or what are some pain points that they are experiencing, so I can provide a plan earlier on. So I'm trying to set myself up so that the client can just do a nice walkthrough. It'll spit the information out to me based on the rubric that I create, and therefore I'm having a more guided process opposed to being in a willy-nilly kind of space. So that's what I plan on doing. And now, regards capacity, I thought about launching a seasonal boot camp, hosting only 4 clients. just to see, starting off with 4, just to see if I can manage. And yeah, so far I have 2 people interested, and I'm just going to continue. And I launched it at $300 for 12 weeks. Really emphasizing that this is a commitment. So that's where I'm kind of weaseling out, reading out the folks who are not serious. So I plan on launching each spring, but providing a pre-launch so that people can maybe get their money together. Or I'm sorry, not each spring, but each season. So for clients each season for 12 weeks. And I meet once a week for 12 weeks, but provide them with homework and assignment throughout the week. But then I also provided another option. If you don't feel the boot camp is suitable for you, if you feel like you have more immediate needs, then I also offer individual coaching for $90 for an hour and 30 minutes. So I'm still trying to understand that pricing from in my mind. But I don't know, in my mind, I just landed on 90, considering the exercise we did in the previous exercise where we broke down our pay rate. And I landed on the number 50, and that wasn't pleasing to me because it didn't factor in all the certification programs that I've been involved in and all the extra work that I've been in and my experience working in the jail. We got to add that up. So I wanted to make sure that I felt like 90 was a good start, being that I feel like I'm committed to work, and I am wanting those who are committed to this work to be in alignment as well. So we're both holding each other accountable. So that's what I came up with.
Everything in divine order. I feel like, the master teacher whose student just killed the game in the championship. Like, this is so awesome. I am so incredibly proud of you because you've done the work, you're launching, you've got people interested, you're speaking the language of worth, value, abundance. You're testing, which is great. You're going to test everything all the time. You're going to feel like you're starting over all the time, but that's just letting you know you're elevating. When we elevate, we're starting on a new level. So we got to start from square one, but we're on a new level. And you've had that growth just in this 8 weeks. I mean, this is amazing and awesome. Congratulations. I am so excited for your boot camp. And I am. This is awesome because just the fact that you've got 2 people interested, the whole goal of this training is to take you from idea to launch. And you've done that. And I am proud of you because it's a lot. And like you said, you've got a full-time job, you've got a life, you've got other things outside of this. But when we put our focus and energy into that which we believe is part of our purpose, our gifts, everything tends to come together. And like you said, you're making sense of everything. I've done this training. I've got this certification. I've attended these seminars. I do this work. I've already got the experience and the track record. Now I can use all of that to put myself out, and it's got to be worth it. And I'm so glad when you said 50 didn't feel right for me, like, yes, honor that. Honor those feelings because your gut is going to tell you, you know what I'm saying? You're going to know I need to boost this. Or what I anticipate is you're going to go through that 12 weeks and you're going to be like, I will never do this for $300 again. And that's a good feeling. You got to go through it. You're going to be in like week 6 and you're going to be like, I did this for how much? But like you said, you're going to be comfortable. You're going to learn so much from this. And you've mentioned all the right things in terms of where your focus is now in preparing for that launch, getting your documents in order, understanding your processes, your systems, contracts, assessments, intake, ethics and standards, very important. All of those things begin to get built into your processes, into your documents. And again, that's just making you look so much more professional. It's really helping you to craft the infrastructure of this practice that you're building. And I'm just so incredibly proud because I know why this training came to me. I know what it's supposed to do, but it's not until I hear from you that it's working, that you're doing what this curriculum is meant to do. And you've got an ideal client, you've got a product, you've got a pricing strategy, you're launching. So this is so perfect. Thank you so much for sharing out your update.
I will say I do plan on really kind of getting all that I shared right now together this weekend, because I do have some people, like I said, interested, and I want to present them with something tangible. So that's my homework for this weekend. But I when I came up with the idea of doing a boot camp, and that was actually this week, so that fear started to set in. I immediately was like, God, no one is going to get on this. I'm going to have a hard time. What if I don't have the capacity for this? Okay, well, then I started to not dim my light, but I started to scale back. And I don't think there's anything wrong with scaling back, because it landed me on doing this seasonally. And it allowed me to have some breathing room. So I felt like the fear it supported me into scaling back, but to still push forward through scaling back. Because I that night I had to like pray. I said, okay, no, please, please give me courage for this, because I never priced anything this high. And who knows, it could be higher in the future, but right now I've never done that before. And I said, please just allow me to feel comfortable doing this, because I'm wrapping up. We're closing the book on, or we're ending the chapter on doing anything for free. I can't do it anymore. So please give me the courage to just move forward and, have a service. Yeah. And then what spoke to me was about quality. And it said, you'll feel confident in your quality. And so that's when I started thinking about assessments, ethics, standards, rubrics. And, when someone sees something packaged really nicely and meaningful, then the right people will flock to that. And I think that's what's allowing me to move forward. That is what's allowing me to move forward. So yeah, that fear definitely set in. So I'm definitely going to revisit that activity that you had, and that you instructed us to do in the first week, I believe, the first couple of weeks.
First week. Yes, it's real. And that's why we do that, because I know it's going to happen. And like you said, the minute you came up with a grand idea, fear set in. It does its job. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Fear don't sleep at all. It's like, where am I supposed to be right now? Oh, she got an idea. I'm on it. Yeah. So it's attracted to our greatness. And that's why I wanted to introduce it up front. So I set the expectation that 1, it's there, 2, it's gonna happen, and 3, let's be ahead of the curve. Get a system in place, which you implemented your system. You prayed, you talked about it to God, you talked it out to self. You're like, and you literally went head to head with fear. Like you said, you kind of danced with it a little bit. You did the dance, you scaled back, but then you went forward, you scaled back, and then you landed somewhere that was comfortable for you. Yeah. That's how it happens. And that's how it's going to continue to happen. And the more you solidify and fortify your system for combating it, use that exercise, dissect the fear. Remember that fear is just false evidence against reality. You've never done this before. So what evidence do you have that says no one's going to buy? Right. None. Just false evidence against reality. Reality is you got 2 people interested. Yeah. I mean, that is huge, to go from nothing and no one to something and 2, not even 1. You've got 2. Talk about the abundance. Right. And there's so much blessing in those humble beginnings, because I'll tell you, every time I wanted to have this big launch, $20,000 launch, I'm going to reach 100 people. And then I had something in my technological system not work right. And
Mhm.
I thought, oh my God, what if I had 100 people that this impacted?
Right.
That would not be, oh, then I would be risk management, troubleshooting, trial and error, technical support. It just would be a headache at that point. I wouldn't even be able to serve
Right.
because I'm now dealing with the repercussions of a tech thing that's not on me necessarily. So I'm like, I'm always so mindful when I get that one, when I get that two, when I get that five, when I get that 10, versus the 100 or the 1,000 that my
Mhm.
mind is really set on, because everything in divine order. And I'm just so proud and ready to hear from you once you launch and how things are going and
Mhm.
what that experience is going to be like. So
Yeah.
congratulations in
Thank you.
advance.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think a question came up around documentation. I'm
Yes.
struggling with identifying the best way, or I wouldn't say the best way. I don't. There's no best way. I'm struggling with identifying a strategy to record and document, the clients through this boot camp. I know that I'm not a computer put log information in. I'm not a fan of that,
Hmm.
because I'm trying to monitor my screen time. But then I'm also, there's no other way other than writing it out. But I'm trying to figure out how can I create that consistency, um, in documenting and recording these experiences that I have, so that I'm logging it in a way. I just don't have a system for that piece yet. And so that it's, I'm not just documenting it, but also what's the purpose of the documentation? What do I want out of that documentation? Where do I want it to grow? Where do I want it to live? Um, where am I going to store it? So I think I'm stuck. I'm kind of stuck there. Because the old put it in the notebook and close it and put it away. I don't know. I just didn't feel right about that.
Okay.
Mhm,
So that's a great question, because now we're talking systems. And again,
mhm.
you're building this to test it, but ideally there'll be a seasonal one. So there'll be another one and another one. So
Right.
it's good that you're thinking about this, because systems are meant to replace us. So you're thinking, how can I document what this experience is going to be and possibly use that for the next go round so it's
Right.
easier on you?
Mhm,
Take a look at the technology, right? So just like here, I use Zoom. Zoom is a great platform for me to be able to record, and I can also record to the cloud, which Zoom hosts, or I can record and download it directly to my computer.
mhm,
So that gives me flexibility. I also use things like Google Drive,
mhm,
and to store. And then through the platform that I pay for to host my courses and trainings, Teachable, which there are a few other platforms as well that
mhm,
you can use, Kajabi, Think Thinkific,
mhm.
um, and then there's one more that's also out there. Um, so you think about all of these things, and then, if you're building a website, then you can also have your website designer build your own somewhat proprietary membership system, using the themes and different add-ons for the website, and that also
Mhm,
stores your content. But
mhm.
I think, a good way to start is with the technology that you are already comfortable with, that you
Okay.
won't have to necessarily have a learning curve for, because that's
Right.
another thing that gets in the way of us launching. It's like, oh, well, now I got to learn this. Oh, now I got to learn that.
Yeah.
So start with what you're familiar with, and then, um, I tend to do really well with video and audio, and I really, really love audio. So, and now that Clubhouse is a thing, but I don't have no Mac products. So I'm like, well, everything in divine order. Um, but what I'm realizing is also that you can use those things. You can use your phone. Your phone has a voice recorder. I used to do that a lot, and just use the audio from the phone or the recorder from my phone and go at it. I mean, I would
Mm-hmm.
just record whatever comes to mind. It became a way to take notes for me. And then I would upload those to the computer in my
Mm-hmm.
Google Drive or in a Dropbox,
Mm-hmm.
something that could hold a lot of the space. And then just kind of go from there. Then email. Email is another great way to conduct a boot camp as well, depending on how you set it up. Because you do want to be mindful of your face time at that price point, but you also want to deliver quality. And I think that first time when we over deliver, that's really where we get a lot of our good content. Then you could go back and repurpose it.
Mm-hmm.
But through email, that allows you to write content, drip it out as you want, and you know they're getting it every day or every week or whatever, but that
Yeah.
could be your written format, and your emails could, live forever. So you choose an email provider,
Yep.
MailChimp, whatever. And then you can also upload your audio or your recordings in that way. So you could
Mm-hmm.
do an email boot camp, make it easy for systems and record
Mm-hmm.
keeping. You've got several ways, but start with the technology that you're most comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on who you're targeting, that they would be able to access and use as well.
Right.
I tend to stay off of the social platforms when it comes to my paid products, in terms of like, a lot of people use Facebook, right? Facebook groups. I stay away from that just because I don't want to have people sign up for Facebook in order to access me.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
tend to use WhatsApp because it's like texting. I can get things out and people will see it when they see it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because they're clients, I have their phone numbers, so it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense for me to, use WhatsApp. And again, it allows you to do audio, voice. You could send files. It's a
Mm.
great way to create engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so think about those systems that you're already using, that you're familiar with, and that could do whatever part of it you need it to do, then bring them all together. And what will naturally happen by the second time you do this, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
learn about more products and services and systems.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that could replace that. Cool. But the
Yeah.
piecemealing it together initially, it's actually a really good exercise, because now you know how some of these systems and softwares work. You know what's
Mm-hmm.
for you, you know what's not for you. And I believe everything in divine order, even with our systems. I know the systems kit that I'm building right now, there were things that I purchased that I should not have been using early on in my practice, because they were just way too powerful and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have that much traffic and people, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
paying $200 a month for something that I'm not even leveraging.
Yeah.
So we want to also avoid that, but I had to go through that to know
Right.
that. So
Right.
start with what you're comfortable with and build it out based on those systems that you're already familiar with.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, feel free to continue to share out what's coming up for you. I'm going to go ahead and pull up today's topic that we're covering, and we'll take a little field trip around the internet, a virtual field trip into the curriculum. So let's see.
Something else came up too around copyright.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yes, go for it.
um, I am creating documents and, and I wanted to be sure to, how do I make sure that this isn't getting, swiped by someone or remade. But at the end of the day, some things are like the things that I've seen have already been remade. But,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be mindful, and I've never done any copywriting before. I don't know what that process looks like. Also business name, formalizing that, the steps within that. But I think that you cover that also in one of the, as far as registration, like LLC, like all that. But yeah, I just feel like I'm in the space of formalizing documents, formalizing comfortable and confident in the name. So just trying to figure out what is that arena around formalizing your business, legalizing, I guess, is that the word, your business.
Mm-hmm. Mhm. And that's great. We will actually talk a little bit about that today.
Okay.
Um, and I'm glad you brought that up because it is important because we're content creators, we're creating intellectual property, and we
Hmm.
do want to protect it. We
Hmm.
definitely do. So let's actually get to that within the lecture. Here, I pull it up and I will answer those questions accordingly.
Okay.
All right, so we are in week 8. So I'll take one moment to talk a little bit about um, the survey. So if you haven't completed the program survey after week 6, please do that. And that's just for anyone watching as well. Um, and then we also will I have sent an email out requesting an interview. And I would love for everyone to respond to that email because I'd like to capture that before everyone goes their separate ways. So if you can today, check for that email so that you can get it scheduled. And that way I know I'm good. I've got everyone scheduled. And then as that day rolls around, I'll send you more information. But the email is quite detailed in what the ask is and what you'd have to do. So double check for that. And then lastly, there's also an exit survey. So let me just pull that up because this is more for demographics for me. Like to know a little bit about your demos and then what you've got out of the training at this point. So these questions are a bit different than the program survey. This is quick and easy. Again, more around the demographics of the training students that I get in this training. So that's really helpful for me for data collection. And then here we are with today's lecture. So let me see. We are talking about launching your financial coaching practice on paper in your state. And here you'll see last year's video, or not last year, but the first year actually. Um, but what are those 8 steps and how do we know? Well, I didn't make this up. This is public knowledge. I just bring the resources here. So we're going to go to sba.gov. I love this website. Can you give me a thumbs up or a chat or just let me know if you can see it says pick your business location? Sometimes the share, let me stop
Yeah, I
it
can
and
see it.
redo it. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
All right. So when you go to sba.gov, there's going to be, let me go here actually. There's going to be several things that come up under business guide. Plan your business. And this is actually a really good resource. I
Hmm.
mean, they give it all to you. So you can use this as a tool to also support developing your practice over time. If you don't know what you're missing, come here. If you're not sure what you're missing, come here. But under launch your business, this is where we want to focus. 8 steps. Pick your business location. Virtual, brick and mortar. Obviously, today we live in a virtual world. Your goal may be to have a brick and mortar, so that would be a part of your business plan. Choose a business structure. Are we sole prop? Are we LLC? How are we going to start the formation of our business? The great thing is here they talk about formations and they help give some definition to each formation that is most popular. And so this could give some great education. It's going to help you understand how you want to set yourself up and what that means thereafter. The third step is going to be choosing your business name. And this is where you can get a bit more creative, but you also want to have some objectivity and business, savvy when you do this. So again, they give you some really great understanding. entity name, trademark. And this is exactly what you were
Mm.
just asking about.
Mhm.
Trademarking, copywriting, patent,
Mhm.
they're all different, but they're all forms of protection for what we build. And I want to also go here, and then we'll go back. USPTO.gov. You want to bookmark this tool, this website rather. This is where you're going to learn about protecting what you build.
Okay.
So Master My Money is the name of my brand for the personal finance solutions I offer. Technically, this training is a Master My Money training, but it's for financial professionals, educators, counselors, consultants, and it's one of the solutions I offer. Then I have Master My Money Presents Build. But what I realized after working with my business coach who helped me develop Master My Money was I needed to protect it. So I got it trademarked. And I want to say, just give me 1 second, that I have that right here to show you live and up close and personal what it looks like to have a trademark. So I worked with the lawyer to file my application. There is a filing fee with the US government of like, I believe $275 per application. So if you want to file for your name, you want to file for the logo, you want to file for artwork, you got to file per application. At the time I did 4 of them and only 1 got approved. So I trademarked Master My Money, and this is what they sent me. It's an official document with a seal. And then on the back, it has like the requirements of what to do to maintain your mark. And this was an official trademark, and they're good for 10 years. So I have to actually give this some attention because it'll be coming up on a renewal. So you do want to think ahead about these things. If you got a great name, get that domain, go to GoDaddy.com or namecheap.com. Get your website domains reserved at the very least, buy that so no one else can. And if you feel like you want to protect it, get it trademarked. And that way your website has that name. So again, websites are important. I lost my website domain, Master My Money. I lost it. And I recently had to get it back because I just was like, all right. And it was $2,000. I paid $17.99 for that website when I first got it. I lost it, meaning I didn't pay for it. And then when I went back to GoDaddy, they made it a premium website name. Why? Because I had all of the keywords, Master My Money, all popular premium words that show up in a Google search for SEO optimization. So they charged me $2,000 for it. And I watched it for 5 years. For 5 years, and it never went down. And I just bit the bullet last year, and said, let me buy it back. So don't let that happen. I share that as a lesson. Stay on your intellectual property because it will cost you. And again, everything is a cost. So this website will help you understand, do I need a trademark? Do I need a copyright? Do I need a patent? Different protections apply to different types of content. Any content you create can be copyrighted by just putting a little C, a circle, and the date. Trademark, all this really means is that you're going on record with the government to say, I am the person who is using this, and it's on record. That's all this is. And the government is able to make money from it, $275 per application, whether they approve you or not. And then if you work with a lawyer, my lawyer charged me like $300 to file all of them. So it was about $1,500 investment, but I've been protected. So it's worth it. And again, you could write these things off through your business as business expenses. So don't ever look at it like, oh gosh, this is money I gotta put out and I can't get it back. No, write it off. It'll help decrease your liability. So spend some time here. This is an awesome website. You will learn a ton about what it is you need and what's going to be the best form of protection. Then we have DBA. So this is also, again, once you get set up in terms of your business structure. I know here in California, you can operate as a DBA, especially if you're a sole prop. So take a look at that piece. Domain name, talked a little bit about that in terms of your website. So this is going to be very, very helpful in terms of choosing your business name and all of the things that you want to consider just from that name alone. I'm sorry, give me 1 second because my son. Okay, I apologize. So that's step 3. Step 4 is register your business. Now we're talking state. Register your business with your Secretary of State. So now you've got a legal entity, you have decided your formation, you've got your name, you have all of the necessary elements to fill out that state registration. And then if you also want to register with the federal agencies for any reason, again, this is going to help you to do that. So you get to look up your state here. Let's see how this tool works, California, and then it's going to take you to the Secretary of State's website, which once you click on that, they have an entire process that's more like a checklist of here's what you need to do, here are the agencies you might need to reach out to based on the type of business you have, and then these are the documents you'll need. Your seller's permit if you're selling things, your tax ID, your business license. So these tools get really specific, and it just basically takes the guesswork out of what do I need? How do I know what I don't have? These checklists are very helpful, and they've gotten so much better over the years. So you really don't have to worry. If you follow these steps, you'll be covered in terms of who you need to get registered with and any documents, permits, licenses that you may need. So spend some time there. Step 5 is all about those EINs. So getting your federal and state tax ID numbers, also known as EINs or ID numbers. And this is basically the Social Security for your business, which is great because let's say you work with a nonprofit, they want to pay you. You can give them the EIN for your business, which is a lot more professional than having to give your Social Security number. And they will issue you your 1099 at the end of that working relationship. So it's just another way to legitimize, to begin to separate you, the person, from your business, because that's what the government wants to see. They want to know that you're really operating as this separate entity. That way, you start off on the right foot, starting to separate yourself from the practice. So this is going to help you with that information. And again, they have another lookup tool, which will give you the website to where you need to be based on your state. Licenses and permits. So again, based on the type of practice you're setting up, do you need to be licensed? If so, with what state departments, agencies, permits that you might need, this will help you do all of that. And then lastly, step 8, open a business bank account. And this makes sense that this is the last step because you need some of those other things in order to open a business bank account. You'll need an EIN. You'll need your fictitious business name or your DBA or your state registration, depending upon how you set it up as a sole prop, LLC, corporation. So when you go to the bank, they're going to say, okay, where are your documents, your registration documents, your DBA, or your fictitious business name? Where are the official state recorded documents saying that you're set up as a business? And then where's your EIN? And then if you, that's basically all they're going to ask you for. So this is in order. Again, everything in divine order. It's ordered according to what you need, why you need it. So by the time you get to step 8, you have everything you need to walk into the bank and say, hey, I'm ready to open this account. Here are my documents. Bam. Now, when you get paid, you could put that money in the business bank account. If you need business insurance, now, as financial coaches in particular, there's really no like financial coaching insurance. However, this is very helpful to let you understand the kinds of insurance that might apply to you given the practice you're running, right? So get familiar with this. And as a resource, let me stop the share. As a resource, the AFCPE has a partner that provides insurance to us as financial coaches, counselors, educators. And I believe it's 2 different companies, and they're reasonable. I want to say a policy is like $750 for the year. So it's definitely a commitment. Again, write-offable. And it's the protection that sets you apart. So imagine, in your documents that you're creating, a little flyer or your website or whatever it is that you're giving out to people to market your practice, you can say, I'm bonded or I have insurance. E&O insurance is also another great way to protect ourselves. And this is important if you're not setting yourself up as an LLC right away. We know that LLC separates us from our practice and also protects our assets from being subject to confiscation in the event that something happens and someone sues us. Then if we're not protected, they could go off after our personal assets. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so please seek legal advice around these things, or go work with an attorney or a business professional who specializes in this if you really want to get a better education and details. But just for knowledge and information, if you're not set up as an LLC, then you should consider insurances that can protect you in the event you have that unhappy client who's like, well, you said I was going to save 10,000 and I saved no thousand. And they try to sue you. You have the insurance in place, so then that claim would go to the insurance and they would pay out whatever might need to be paid out. So that's how you want to protect yourself in that way when it comes to business insurance for us as practitioners. Now, let's say you grow your company and you really need like business insurance for the practice, something like key man insurance, especially if you're building out your team like I am, building out a team. And if you're the brains of the operation and something happens to you, you die or pass away, technically your business dies as well, unless there is a policy in place to create income now that you, the person who was generating income, is no longer there. And we know insurance is an income replacement tool. That's what it is. So it's meant to replace income when that source of income is no longer available or around. So at some point in your practice, you may get there, and that would be a different type of insurance that you would want to consider outside of the practitioner protection for your business, especially for legacy planning, succession planning, and things like that. So that's the 8 steps. Now let me go back to the curriculum for a second. Any questions while I'm navigating?
No questions. I think I'm glad it's in order. And I saw a little bit of imagery as well. So I'm like, okay, this touches on the visual learners here. So this is perfect. But no, this is really good. I'm glad that's really hopeful, that the fact that it's step by step by step by step.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helpful.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yes, it is. There is an order to everything, I believe. And it is very helpful because, again, you don't know what you don't know when you're starting out. I know I didn't know this. And then I found it. And that's why I share it because it led me to where I am today. It was the very foundational elements of building my business the proper way. Like when you really want to do things the proper way the first time around, you're like, okay, let me know everything I need to know. But again, you don't know what you don't know. And I found the SBA.gov was the perfect resource to let me know what I needed to do. And then by the time I got to the state website had improved so much that it also created a lot of order in terms of what agencies do I need to reach out to? Who do I need to apply for a license? All of that. They've got this really great portal and it'll spit out a checklist for you. And you'll know, okay, I need to call City Hall. I need to work with the county clerk. I need to do this. And all of it is very laid out. So that's what you'll experience in this week's training. It's going to be setting your business up on paper, being legit. And I will also encourage, and this is the best practice that I need to write down before I forget. The best practice is to start to have a folder, manila folder, whatever kind of folder, but a folder for all your business stuff. Because once you hit this stage and this part of the process, you're going to have a lot of paperwork floating around. And I knew I couldn't find my business license one time, and it was just a headache to have to request things over and wait for it to come, pay those additional fees. And I'm like, if I just had everything in one place from, again, domain names, business licenses, FBN, and then once you go to the bank, opening a bank account, they're going to give you a little folder with all kinds of stuff in there from them, knowing that your EIN is in an easily accessible place, especially until you can remember it off the top of your head. Trying to find that paper from the IRS in my email just never worked out. I don't know why that document is so difficult to search in your email, but it is. And I know I have an EIN, but I just could never find it in my email box. So having a printed copy that you could easily access, and that became even more important for things like grant money, applying and for applications for any kind of money, because they're gonna ask you these same things over and over again. And I just realized it sounds like you don't even need to be told this, but I wish I had someone told me, keep everything in a folder, easily accessible, and then make a copy. I would make copies of everything. And because I'm an entrepreneur, I tend to keep certain things on my person. So in my little work bag, I would have like a folder. Even when I would go to work, I would have my business folder there because I never know what I can do while I'm out, what opportunity might come to me. And it's a travesty to have to say, oh, I got to wait till I get home to pull out that paperwork. And then it's not my original copy, so I'm protected in that way. Original was at home, but my copy stayed with me. And when I'm out and about or I see an opportunity, or what would normally happen, and this is how my get down was, I would drive past an organization that I might want to work with, and I would have a little flyer talking about my practice. Keep that stuff on you because that's how we start relationships. That's how we start business. Who says you're going to go back to that particular location? You might be in an area where you've never been before, but that first drop off can make a difference. And now they got a flyer, they got something to reference, especially if the person you wanted to talk to is not there. So these are just some of those best practices that I found over the years, that when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And it really does make a difference because imagine passing some place where you see a lot of people who you might think can work with you and you don't have anything on you. You're going to think about it like, man, had I had this, I would have been able to do that. So just stay ready in that regard. But this is where you are now. We're in this portion of the training where you're ready to launch on paper. You're ready to be legit, go legit. Check out the uspto.gov. It's going to be a lifesaver for the content you're creating. help you understand what you might want to protect. And then if you need resources or you want to work with someone, I still work with my lawyer to this day. She's a Black woman by the name of Marissa Grayson. And when I reach out to her, it's all good. So, if you don't have a resource, I have plenty I'm willing to share. The last thing I wanted to touch on is going to be the business plan creator. So this was another tool from the SBA.gov that I wanted to show you, because this is how you're going to get your business plan. And if this tool works like I remember it working, you will be able to generate it through the tool, I think. Let me see. Let me stop the share and then start it again. Okay, so this link is in the module, and they have business plans and templates, I believe. Check out this page, get familiar with it. Again, it has more tools for helping you to build your business plan with numbers that make sense. So again, here's another tool. I thought I remembered an actual business plan creator where you would like type in the information, answering questions, and then in the end it would generate a report, and that would be your business plan. So I'll take a look at that again and see if I can find it. But this page, not page, but this section of the website, which is also within the section that I've showed you right here, plan your business. So that's basically what all of these are. Great resource, like it has everything business here. And then if you need local assistance, you can type in, your area and find an SBA regional office where you can literally walk in or get paired up with a mentor. I've had a SCORE mentor. It was great. Women business centers are great. I've applied for grants through them. SBDC have webinars and trainings. So check out the SBA.gov website. That's the takeaway. It has everything and then some. And then as you start to click through, it'll click you through to other resources. What questions, thoughts, comments might be coming up for you right now?
You just mentioned grants. And I'm actually trying to leverage where I work, one of the grant writers or director of development to talk to me, give me a grant 101 breakdown so that I can learn more about it and understand how they work or how it works. And because I know I shared with you that I'm also in the schools. So I'm in one of the high schools teaching, and I spoke with a teacher after one of my sessions, and she was saying, maybe we can start talking about like maybe grant writing and trying to figure out a way to really, grow this in the school. And all I said was, yes, that sounds great. But in my back of my mind, I have zero idea because that's not the field that I'm in. Like I'm in partnerships. So that's the land that I feel comfortable working. And how you're mentioning around, keeping all your documentation on you so you're ready to connect. And that struck a nerve because, again, that's the land that I'm in. I'm in the land of partnership. I'm in the land of that's where my confidence level is. It's in that arena. And I almost want to write down, listen to this recording again and write down what all the steps that you shared and identify where my confidence lies, and then discover areas where there isn't much confidence and understand, how can I build confidence in that arena, in that area. Because as you said, going into a business and just, dropping off a flyer or just engaging with maybe, the manager or the front desk person, whatever it may be, I'm confident in that. But I am not confident in the talking numbers. I'm not the most confident in knowing what paperwork needs to go where and, legal documentation. So it's interesting. I just want to, what came up for me was gauging my confidence in specific areas and where I need to learn more.
Okay. No, that's great. And I love that you said you're already talking with the grant writer at your organization. That is a relationship that you want to develop, nurture, and make like primary. The contract I have right now is a contract with my former employer. When I resigned from them, I made them my client. That came easily because the woman who writes the grants for the organization looked out for me all the time. Now, she looked out for me all the time because I am who I am. I deliver, I'm professional, like I got results. She knew the program that I worked for. She helped bring the program to their organization. And again, I made my mark in the community that I serve. So she even heard about me. Leverage that relationship. The woman who got me the grant or who helped get me the contract with the organization where I work sees all the money that comes into the organization. More importantly, because she is a grant writer, she's looking for money. So what started to happen, she would then say, hey, this organization has some money, and I think we should do a financial coaching just for veterans. What do you think about that, Dr. Dominique? Let's do it. Months later, she got the grant. And just this week, we've talked about that grant. A little bit of money, but $5,000. I'll take it. You're going to give it to somebody. I'll take it. Every time she does that, she's thinking of me. She's also going to be leaving the organization. And we've already started to talk about what that could look like because she knows how to get money. She knows how to write for it. I'm here to take the money and then build a program. So we work well together. And that's what this partnership has taught me. Make friends with the grant writer. And once you start your own thing to where you can definitely use her, that's somebody you may need to say, hey, I would love to partner with you to help me find the money. And once we find it, I can give you a portion of it. So that way you don't have to come out of pocket to pay her. Her interests are now aligned with your interests. If she gets you the money, then she's going to get a piece of that money. And that is a great partnership to have because you can't know everything that's out there. Like you said, that's not your area of expertise. And we always want to operate in our strength. Let her find the money. Hey, this is a good fit for what you got going, Alexandria. You want to write for this? Yep. What you need me to do? And then partner with her to write it. And once you get that money, siphon off her a piece. And then she could build that into the budget for the grant as well. So that is a great relationship that you want to you need to leverage that now. Send her a little edible arrangements like, hey, I was just thinking of you. I appreciate the work you do. Like really get her on your good side because you can leverage her as you begin to build. She knows where the money is, and that's the type of person you want on your team for sure. That I literally have gotten 25,000, maybe 26,000 from one organization because of one person just getting the money and including me in the grant, writing me into the grant. It pays to know those type of people and to be so good to them.
Yeah, no, good to know. I have to step off because I have a meeting.
All right.
But I want to say thank you so much. This is really good information. I plan to just jump back in the recording later.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. And so as we wrap up this last session for the 8-week training, business development training on how to start your financial coaching practice, I am so honored that you've spent 8 weeks with me, that you've entrusted me to be a guide for your journey. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you about your progress. Tap into that WhatsApp. We still have a community there, especially of previous training students. We share, we share resources, we give updates, we answer questions, and it is a great opportunity for me to check in and provide my own updates as well. Stay relevant, let you know what trends I'm seeing, where the money is, and how we can continue to grow our practices and be a resource to each other. So I look forward to being in touch. Have a great day. And again, thank you for investing in you through me. Peace.